You're listening to the Music Business Breakthrough Podcast with me, your host, Grammy-nominated artist and certified trauma-informed success coach, Cheryl B. Engelhardt. Let's talk about performance jitters, stage fright, anxiety, all of these sort of common but unpleasant feelings that musicians get a lot, especially when they're about to get in front of a crowd, whether that's live, whether that's online, even if that's about to be sending an email to your fans. There can be some feelings that come up, and it all has to do with the fear of being seen. What this means is that at some point in your past, probably when you were under the age of 10, something happened where you were seen and it did not go well. This can be anything from something traumatic to a kid made fun of the outfit you were wearing. Either way, our bodies had to go into a fight or flight protection mode to save us from that icky feeling, whether that was disappointment or fear or terror or being misunderstood. And we embodied that feeling in our little bodies. Now, fast forward 20, 30, 40, however many years to now, and all we want as musicians is to be seen. Side note, some of us became musicians so that we could try to overcome that thing of the past and see if we could heal it or fix it. It's one of the reasons why sometimes we get in and stay in bad relationships, because we keep trying to heal something, usually with one of our parents, that wasn't healed, and trying to get love in a certain way that we never got. So we'll keep trying to find the same type of person to get a redo for our lives. So many of us struggle with this, even in our music careers, where we are trying so hard to be seen and have that being seen feel good, unlike whatever happened that very first time. So we'll keep putting ourselves in similar situations to try to recreate and overcome how it didn't go well the first time. So where does that leave us now? It leaves us with a bad case of stage fright, where all we want to do is get on stage and perform for all these people, but we're feeling anxiety, we feel nauseous, we feel the jitters, we feel sweaty. Like our bodies are having an actual literal response saying, this doesn't feel safe, and I have the experience to prove it. That's what our bodies are telling us. Let's talk about how to heal that, because it is possible to get on stage, to get in front of a crowd, to send a big email, to communicate with a lot of people at once and have it not go poorly and have our nervous systems not freak out. So how can we make that experience all the more pleasant? And by the way, once we heal this, how can we then take actions to expand and go bigger? Because how have we been holding ourselves back because of this icky feeling, right? If you get on stage now and you're cool with playing with 1,000 people, but it feels icky, imagine healing that and being so confident on stage that you're like, yeah, let's go bigger. Let's go to 10,000 people, right? So we hold ourselves back because we don't want these icky protective feelings coming in. So let's talk about how to heal this. One way to do this is to sit down, and maybe this is inside of a meditation, or you could do it when you're in the shower or going for a walk, but give yourself a little bit of time to just think about, when was I seen when I was a kid and it didn't go well? And try to think of the first time. There might have been a bunch of incidences, especially if you were a performer or a theater kid, where something didn't go well and you were on stage and a costume had a malfunction, or you said the wrong line and someone laughed. We might have a lot of these examples throughout our life. We want to get to the first one, if you can. So let's say you figured out that it was this event that happened maybe when you were 7 or 8, where you were in front of a crowd and something happened, or you lost your voice and some people giggled and you felt awful about yourself. Let's just go with that example. Once you've identified that, take a guess at what the age was. Maybe you know, maybe you're not sure, but let's just give it a number so that you can do this work. Then what there is to do is to connect with your calm, regulated adult self. And once you're connected to your current self, think back to that little kid version of you. And then have a conversation with them. And what that looks like is, you can journal this or you can close your eyes, but you're going to ask them, hey, how you doing? I'm here. And ask them what they needed that they didn't get at the time. What did you need? Maybe the answer will be, I just needed someone to come and hug me, or I just needed to have practiced more, but I wasn't allowed, or I just need, right? Like, be open to that something's going to show up and surprise you. So once you ask the question of your younger self, what did you need that you didn't get at the time? Then ask it, how can I give you what you need right now? And that answer will probably be a little bit different. Maybe it will just be, I just need your permission to cry, or I just need you to make sure that you're being safe. Whatever there is that shows up, give a response. Give that little version of you confidence that you have the skills and the talent and the confidence to handle whatever comes your way, and that you're not going to let that little version of you get hurt again. So you have to communicate that from your adult self to your younger self. You can go along this route and ask any other questions that come up for you. You can let them ask you questions and have a conversation, go back and forth. This can take 30 seconds or this can take 10 minutes, however long you feel like you want to connect with that part of you. When you feel you've gotten enough answers, say to them, I'm here, I love you, I'll be back. You can always have another conversation. But see if there's something that you need. Do you need permission from this younger part of you to move on powerfully? See if that's a question that you need to ask. Is it okay if? Is it okay if I go perform for 10,000 people instead of 1,000? Like, I know that sounds scary, but how does that feel if you trust me to go do that? It's a really beautiful way to connect with yourself and that part of you that might have been running the show up till now. You can tell if a younger part of you, a version of you is running the show, if it feels a little petulant, if it feels like you say to yourself, I know in my head this shouldn't be scary, but, and then your body feels something different than your head, than what your mind is telling you, than what your rational, analytical self knows. When there's a disconnect there, there's usually something younger that's trying to get out. And that's why the body is doing all these things like have anxiety attacks or panic attacks or the sweats or increased heart rate or nausea. Those are all expressions of a past version of yourself that are trying to get your attention. So once you give them the attention, those symptoms, the somatic symptoms, start to go away. Cool? You with me so far? Great. So if you're able to try to have this conversation with a younger part of you, you're going to feel a little bit relief. But it's not going to happen right away because you've trained your body that, hey, when I'm about to go on stage, I feel this way. These chemicals kick in, the fight or flight, da-da-da-da-da. So it's going to take a little bit of rewiring every time you get on stage for eventually all of those feelings to not even show up. So just be graceful with yourself. Have those conversations maybe before every show, before any time you do something that can feel nerve-wracking. And know that letting go of those feelings in your body does not mean that you're abandoning that younger version of yourself that's just trying to protect you. It just means that you're growing and moving on and healing together. You're not losing any part of your identity. You get to choose, okay, if my identity is no longer a scared little kid, then who am I? Then what do I get to be? Go back to the episode about your commitment and bring that into play. That's going to answer a lot of questions for you. If you want to dig in and do some more nervous system conversations, regulations, I love working with musicians on this. I am available to coach you one-on-one. You can go to www.inthekey.co/coach to find out how to work with me. We also talk about this, of course, in Amplify, and all of my other resources are in the free app, Releaseify. Make sure you've downloaded that. See you in the next episode.